Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and welcome to this episode where I destroy 2 Chargers. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. So yeah, I have these 2 Chargers from Hot Wheels, and I'm going to precurse this entire video right off the bat by saying I understand all the technical and physical differences between what I'm building, the real movie cars, all that. I get it. Taking a lot of liberties here, just because I feel like it and it's my video. But yes, I understand there's a lot of inaccuracies, and it's not intentional. It is. These are the 2 cars I had that were the same. They're what I'm using, and I am aware of how things are. So I pretty much had a vision of taking 2 cars and making them slightly different. And I always wanted a General Lee and an imagined General Grant. 2 sides of the Civil War. Blue, and it would be gray normally, but orange in this case. So I decided to go ahead. I've had this one planned for a long time. I've kind of hemmed and hawed about it, and finally decided to start taking things apart. You can see right now I'm just kind of swapping things around because in the stripper and everything else, things get mixed up. I want to make sure each base fit each car, each top, just in case I screwed things up. So I usually start by, and I never show this, but I drill and tap the holes to make sure that everything goes smoothly and I don't screw it up. And then I can put my screws in the holes now, so that way when I strip, the holes don't get clogged up, and it's a good way to test fit, and just it's good practice, because sometimes you get busy and you forget, and then you have to try to drill and tap with the car painted. And I speak from experience because I've done it. So out of the stripper, here's both cars, both really pretty decent castings. I have no major complaints. You got some roof line issues and some stuff on the front nose, front fenders, the normal castings. I mean, this thing's been in production for a while, so with an older casting, you're going to get that. It's just inevitable. So you can either live with it or do your best to get off what you can, which is what I do with a combination of file and sanding stick and elbow grease and sandpaper and so on and so forth. I scribe things out. I use Scotch-Brite a lot just to help polish things up as I'm working, mainly just so I can kind of see where I'm at. A lot of times you can't see everything. So that's one of the reasons I use a Scotch-Brite in between while I'm doing stuff. Just helps smooth things out. I mean, you can prime and then sand, and prime and sand. I'm just trying to not build things up. So once you think you're ready, I always degrease before I paint and prime, because no matter how, I've already at this point washed it with soap and water, and you can see the rag, it's dirty. It's just, you can't get everything off, and anything left on the surface is a potential contaminant that will screw up your paint job. And if you're like me, you don't need much help in that department, so you do what you can in preparation. So I'm going to go, and the GM guys and Chrysler guys are going to kill me, but this is the GM Le Mans Blue from Splash Paints. You dump it in right out of the bottle. And I apologize for the color. I figured out, thanks to Christian Stanley, and what my issue was. I changed my frame rate from 60 to 24. And for some reason, when I do that, the fluorescent lights and everything gets all screwed up. So that's the issue. I've since fixed it, but for this purpose, it's kind of screwed up. So you'll have to deal with it. The Le Mans Blue, the splash paints, I mean, I've said it before, they just go on so good. I have never every time I put it on, it goes on great. I put a couple light tack coats, and then I can put it on pretty damn heavy. And but it's a base coat clear coat system. So that was the General Grant. This is the General Lee, and they have a paint called Flame Red, and it's about as close as you can get to the color for the General Lee, which if you watch any of the documentaries, or if you follow John Schneider, who has a YouTube channel, he talks about how they painted it. It was just a mixed match of colors they had in the paint cabinet at the studio. So there's really no specific like factory color that was for the General Lee, but this is pretty damn close. So I actually like it. I'll probably use it on some other things as well. But if you're looking for an authentic looking General Lee orange, it's flame red from Splash Paints. Make sure you check them out. And no, they're not sponsoring the video. I wish they would. I could use the money. But anyways, the paint goes on really, really good. And I'm not too concerned on this one because I got a different style. So my Wicked Pissa jar. As you guys know, that about a month ago, I was at 12,000 subscribers. I'm deciding to go and give away all the contents of my jar when I hit 14,000 subscribers. Right now at 12.7, 12.8 by the time you watch this. And so about halfway there. But I add to it every week. And, I try to put some decent stuff in there. So one person's going to get a pretty decent prize. So I got this multi-car drag pack that I first put in. I've got this JDM hauler that I have no idea why I bought it. This Fast and Furious ice charger. I've got these two matchboxes that were donated for the jar specifically. And then I've added recently this Maisto hauler with the Monte Carlo. And then this 50-car display case Datsun or whatever the hell it is. And this week I'm adding in this 1967 Corvette Stingray from Hot Wheels. All right, so back to the build. The cars have been painted. I've primed the interiors, and I'm doing one white, which will be the General Grant. The General Lee, I'm doing a tan interior, and I'm using the Citadel Paint Xandri Dust. It works really well. I thinned it down with some water a little bit to help it cover a little bit better. The only difference is you usually have to put, if you thin it down too much, if you're not careful, you have to put 2 coats on, but it goes on nice. So the 2 cars. So Kenny Terry was the guy I contacted to make me some custom General Grant decals, and he knocked it out of the park. Please check him out. It's kennyterry.com. He's on Facebook and everything else. I'll put a link in the description down below. But yeah, he nailed it on this. Really. And he can print white, which is unbelievable. So that makes me very happy. And I've got some special custom stuff coming his way, which he kind of knows about. So yeah, he's got a bunch of stuff on his website. So make sure you check him out. Quality was excellent. I had no issues whatsoever as far as putting them on, applying them, sticking. They're sticking. Everything. I have nothing bad to say. They just really quality decals. So make sure you check them out. And check out what he's got, and then if you have something you're looking for and you don't see it, shoot him a message. He'll respond, and he'll take care of you and tell him I sent you. So yeah, so I went with, the General Lee was 01. I was kind of thinking, should I put a Civil War year number on the side of the General Grant, maybe the year the war ended. I decided to go with 76 for 1776, just because America. But yeah, it's just a number I picked. I thought it would, I don't know, it's what I wanted. I'm sure there's a million other numbers we could go with that would be just as cool. So it is what it is. So obviously the General Lee, same thing. High quality decals. Didn't have any issues whatsoever. They went on smooth. But again, I'm doing something a little bit different with the General Lee than I'm doing with the General Grant. General Grant, I applied 4 or 5 coats of automotive clear over it. The General Lee, I want to go with more of a weathering look. Something because technically the South lost. Even though I'm a northerner, I was born down south, so that's still, I guess, a sore spot. So I decided to go with the Vallejo. Shout out to Rob at Matchbox Garage. Different colors for weathering. Now, these are airbrush paints, but I've used them this way before, and I haven't had any issues. They just a little thin. So I wanted to grunge up the paint a little bit, and I kind of wanted to go, I didn't want to go as rusty as I wanted to go just grungy, oily, dirty, been through hell and back type of look. So I picked a few colors, and I'm just going to put a little dab in each container here, and then I'm going to dry brush the different layered colors of rust. I start with the darkest, then I kind of go to the orangey brown, then the orange, and then the yellowy orange, I guess you could call it. I don't know the exact color. They're all part of this kit there that I showed you. and again, this is all personal preference, and I'm more experimenting. Every time I do weathering, I try something different to see what works, what doesn't work. I probably shouldn't because I could screw up a few hours of paint and decals and everything else. But I guess if you don't try things, then you never learn. So it came out okay. I learned a few things. I do a few things different. I did mix it with some. You'll see here in a few minutes. I did mix it with. I added the Citadel Typhus Corrosion and Riser Rust, which is my usual go-to for rust effects. But I decided that only does so much. I wanted to really matte down the body, just make it look like maybe it's been sitting underneath a tree for a certain amount of time. But somebody pulled it out, slapped some rims on it, did the bright work, and that was it. And I left it with that, worn patina type of look. So that's kind of the look I'm going for. Before I get all the nasty comments in the comments down below about, oh, we get a rusty car. Why do you have nice shiny rims? Yeah, I know. It's just personal preference. It's just what I wanted to do, and it's my build. So in the end, I'm happy with the way that this Vallejo stuff came out. Again, I learned a few things. I matte cleared the car before I did this. I probably shouldn't have. It would have made it stick a little bit better. So that was the only thing I would probably change. Now, this Typhus Corrosion from Citadel, that goes on heavy. You have to, and it's a really great rust effect. You put that down, it's a little textured, and then you take the Riser Rust, which is the orange behind it, and it looks super bright. But when you put it over this Typhus Corrosion, it looks like rust, and it really gives you a nice effect as long as you don't put it on too heavy. But since you're dry brushing it, you can slowly add and build it up into layers. And you can have different intensities of it depending upon how many times you go back over it and feather it in. So I'm happy with it. I like it. I think it's a good technique that works for me. But again, I'm always looking for new ways to try to do things. If I keep doing the same crap all the time, then I'm not really learning anything, and neither are you, I guess, if you're following this along for that purpose. But yeah, it was a fun project. I was really dying to get into this. And what's funny is, as I'm recording this now, Hodges over at Hodges Hot Wheels just released a whole Dukes of Hazzard thing. So I'm going to put a link to his video as well. So that's why this one's delayed. You're probably watching it a week and a half or so after I actually did this. So as usual, if you guys are so compelled, I have a Patreon page where I have different tiers. I give away stuff. This video, as a matter of fact, actually was released there first, and everybody gets kind of a sneak peek at everything and some giveaways. So this is what I started with. 2 Hot Wheels Chargers. This is what I ended up with. And yes, I know the tail panel is a different color. I did that on purpose, mainly because that's one of those really bad panels that get rusted out and get replaced. So they went to the junkyard and found the closest thing, which was more red than orange. Conscious decision, good, bad, indifferent. I don't know. You guys be the judge. One shiny, chromed out General Grant and one worn General Lee. So I had fun doing this. There's a few things I would have done different. I usually slam the hell out of these cars, and I decided not to. Conscious decision this time, just because these are designed, if you think about it, to run through the backwoods of the South and chasing each other, and you need a good suspension, and slammed on the ground probably would not be good for oil pans and other important parts. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.